Doing my video on satellites today, and it's going to be the Real X-Files. This is the name of the video that I'm doing, the Real X-Files, and it's going to be dealing with some of the reconnaissance and Earth observation satellites. And I went over the ones I'll be going over in this video are the Worldview 3 and 4 satellites. I'll cover the GOI-1 and who operates that one, and a host of other ones. Pleiades I'll cover in the SkySat and the nwo.satelites satellites. But these satellites that I'm going to be talking about, I track these on my software programs that I use, and I also use them on my Space Command phone I have. I have a Magellan system, and not navigation system. It's a wireless satellite phone I use, and I also have software I use when I was working. I have a Magellan phone, and then it's also ISO programmable. It uses Pegasus software and stuff, so I use that also for mapping different star systems. But I'm going to get into right now this video, and I want to talk about this one satellite called the GOI, and one I call it, and they have the GOI-2 as well. And this satellite is operated by Digital Global, and this company does a lot of mapping, and they're involved with the military. They do a lot of stuff with reconnaissance, Earth observation and stuff, and they're a pretty high-tech company. And General Dynamics Information Systems is the one that put this system together. General Dynamics done a lot of stuff. What these satellites are basically using, the sensors they're using are a panchromatic multispectrum, or multispectral sensors, basically. And they're pretty damn accurate. I mean, they can go down to like about a meter of accuracy, and so they can, they travel pretty fast. But at the rate that they're going, they travel around 18,000 miles an hour. Unbelievable speed these satellites are. But they can map out about 700,000 kilometers of space within that time in a second. But they have ones and twos. The other ones will come back on the rebounds after the ones have come through. I tracked the GOI today for a while, and it came through pretty clear. I get pretty good images of them and stuff with my Magellan Pegasus software I'm using. I can see pretty much them pretty close up when I zoom up on them, but they're moving really fast, so you don't really see the satellite because of the speed they're going. It just leaves a contrail. You can't see it, but you can see them on the computer when I track them. I can watch them. And today there was they came over in the morning time. They start early, about 11. So they're pretty wild. And there's another one I want to get into also, is the Pleiades 1A1, and that's run by the Italian and the French Space Agency. And their system also is using a 4 SAR system on it, synthetic aperture radar. It's 4 instead of 1. And they're also using the shortwave infrared sensors on them too, and long-wave infrared sensors, which is just basically light spectrometer sensors on them where they can go over. But it goes even more. These satellites also are like time machines, and I'll go into how they're like time machines and how they can relay information back pretty fast and stuff, and they store a lot of information as well. So you can see what's happening with them. But like I said, some of them they're run by every agency on the planet Earth, these satellites. And every agency in the world is involved with this. Russia, China, the U.S., and I'll go into one of the other satellites, which is also, most of these are in geopolar orbits and stuff. And some are indifferent, some are geosynchronous. The ones that are up, stationary ones that don't fly by are geostationary. These are a little bit different, these satellites. And but the one I want to go over now also is the SkySat C3, and one of the other ones I believe is an Indian satellite that was up there. I'm trying to remember exactly. I think I saw that earlier today, one of the Indian satellites that came through, and it was a SuperView, I believe, satellite it was. It's an Indian SuperView 4 satellite that came through, and it almost collided into one of the other satellites. I looked at it on my chart and everything, and they almost came, hit each other and stuff coming through. So these are gathering information at a fast rate. They go over my house, and I track them. They go over parts of Virginia, the targeted areas right now on my systems that I watch are over central Illinois, and they hit very heavily over, for the past 2 days, they've been hitting West Virginia very, very hard and monitoring them. China and Russia have been going over West Virginia pretty heavily, and the satellites that were going over West Virginia were the new Sat-1s and the Worldview 3s and the GOI ones. Those are the ones that I was keeping an eye on, because those are the ones that are basically the reconnaissance ones that are gathering a lot of data on what's going on and stuff on with intelligence and stuff. It's wild out here watching this stuff and how fast they pass by. You can't really see them. They're too high up. But I also want to cover another satellite out there that everyone pretty much has heard of, the Black Knight. It's about 30,000 or 25,000 year old monolith that's been basically out there and stuff. And Nikola Tesla was the first person to discover this thing a long time ago. The Black Knight was out there, and then the rumors that it was shot down by the Illuminati, and that's bullshit. It wasn't shot down at all. The truth behind that satellite, I'll go into it later in this video. The Black Knight satellite and where it came from and everything, and really what the satellite was about and who was really running it, where it came from. I'll go into that a little bit more, the Black Knight. So you can see the whole gist of this stuff. And I want to also go into how, when everybody ever noticed when it gets the weather gets really bad and shit, you can see a lot of these flying craft are flying around when the atmosphere gets really, when you get rainstorms. Well, a lot of these extraterrestrial craft are fueling on the Earth's atmosphere's emissions of radiation, and also they feed off of lightning bolts. And you can see some of these craft be shooting beams of ray beams coming out of the craft above the Earth's atmosphere. They'll shoot down a beam, and it's not a transporting device. But what they're doing is they're using the Earth's atmosphere's energy. They're using energy from the Earth. Mostly the lightning bolts. They fuel off of it. The lightning it's like we use petroleum to feed our cars, but these craft are always around in space, and there's so many of them that come around when there's a storm. There'll be flocks of them will come in. They'll shoot down their ray beams from the craft and everything, and I'll go into that. Another thing I want to do to also cover some of the Black Knight satellites is that it also some of these craft that have been coming in and reported, been seen out in space and everything, are basically, they open up these black holes and these gateways. I want to go into what happens with some of these gateways that some of these craft are opening that are coming out from outer space. They open up a gateway and they're emitting a wave that interrupts the field of the Earth. When they send out this wave, it's like when you throw a rock into the pond, you get a ripple. Well, the two things are happening. They're emitting a strong antimatter field from this craft, and also, which is disrupting our planet's magnetic fields of the Earth. The ETs will send down this ray, and it disrupts the grid system on our planet. And I'll go into a little bit more about these black holes that are actually these gateways that they're opening up in the Milky Way galaxy. This is not, it's in our own Milky Way. They're disrupting our magnetic field of the Earth with their technology in space. Fucks everything up. And they're using the lightning as a fueling system. We all know the sun is nothing more than a big fusion furnace, to conversion of hydrogen into helium molecules. But they feed off the sun, and I'm going to go into a little bit more about solar obliteration stuff. And when you look at the sun, the UFOs and these flying saucers, that they're from different galaxies. I'll get into it, but they use the Earth's magnetic grid system to fuel their systems. And there are many different propulsion systems out there that they use to fuel off of our Earth's atmosphere. And I'll go into it. Not just fusion. They have a way of polarizing the electrons and protons and neutrons that make up the Earth. They can polarize this energy and convert it into energy that they can use. They have a way of polarizing the energy forces of the Earth. I'll go into it a little bit more. I'm going to sign out. I'm going to do part 2 on, this is the real X-Files I'm doing. I'm going to do a little bit more on these satellites. Bill signing, part 2 coming up. Peace.